Hey sweet friends, welcome back to our channel. Today we have a card for you that you are just going to love. We've created it in such an easy way that you're going to wonder why you never made it before. So let's head down to the crafting table and let me show you this pop-out card. Look at this beautiful card. Do you see this? Pops out, has an extra card right in the opening of it. Now, you're going to think it might be difficult. It just has a few score lines and 2 cut lines, and you won't believe how easy it is. So let's get started. The first thing you need to do is cut you your base card. And your base card is 11 by 4 1/4. So let's go ahead and create some score lines. We need 1 3/4. 3 1/2. And while we're at it, let's just go ahead and extend this arm. If you're working with the Stampin' Up cutter, let's move this over. So now we're moving it on over to 3 1/2. 5 1/4. And 7. And now we can shut our arm on our trimmer. And you know, it's kind of hard to see these score lines. I don't know, you can see them. But let's go ahead and just give it a little crease so that we can see our score lines a little better. Okay, so we have our score lines. Now we have this big area right here. So we're going to keep that to the right. And this is our first, our second, and our third score line. And we have a 4th one here. Now we're going to make our 2 cuts, and it is so easy. We're going to put our 5 1/4 at the top of our trimmer, and we're going to just scoot it on over to 1 1/4. Just 1 1/4 right there. Now we're going to cut between the first and the third score line. That's it. So you've already moved it to 1 1/4. Go ahead and bring your cutting blade down to this first score line. And we're going to cut to the third score line. And let me show you what that looks like. You see how easy that was? On this trimmer, you can just scoot it on over right here to 1 1/4. So put your cutting blade once again at the first score line, and we're going to cut down to the third score line. Now, if you don't have a double edge like this, say you don't have this one, and you've cut this score line, all you have to do is flip it over. Just flip it over, put it back in, and put it at 1 1/4. Either way, you get this cut line, and that's it. How great is that, right? Well, we need to decorate this, right? But let's go ahead and fold it. I think it's always fun to see how this pop-out card folds. So we're going to take this area where we have a large area without a score line, and we're going to fold that to the right, just like that. Bring in your bone folder and give that a good crease. And now we're going to take, and this line right here, we're going to fold back, but not the middle part. Do you see that? We're just folding that back. This is popping out a little. Go ahead and give that a good crease. And now look at this. There's a score line there. Put your fingers there and just bring it over. It very naturally wants to fold the right way. So you don't even have to worry about it. It automatically folds the right way. So we fold to the right, then we fold to the left right here, and then just put your fingers once again right on these little score lines in the middle and bring this side over, and it will very naturally just fold in. Now let's go ahead and give everything a really good crease. It's always so much fun to see this card pop out, right? And now, let's go ahead and create this card. This is fun to create. So you want to cut your paper 7 1/2 by 5, and then you want to score it right in the middle, which is 3 3/4. So we've already done that. Now we have picked some beautiful paper to work with. Look at this. We're going to use this green patterned paper, and then we're using the back side of it. Oh, how pretty is that? Now all the supplies, materials, and measurements will be listed over on our blog. How do you get there? You can go below this video in the description and look for measurements and supplies, or you can head on over to creativemomentsbyg.com and click on blog. But we went ahead and we cut the mat for the top of our card. Look at that. Look at how pretty that is. And the size of that mat is 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. So let's go ahead and glue that down. And I'm using my wiggle glue because I had to maneuver it into place exactly where I wanted it. Now, I'm going to stamp a sentiment on the inside of this note card, so let's go ahead and do that first. I'm bringing in my Mossy Meadow. Oh, I'm going to stamp it in Mossy Meadow. I don't know why, just because, because I think it's such a beautiful color. Let's see how it stamps. Okay, that's kind of light, so several tips for that. You can put it in a positioner, and that will make it darker. Or you could flip it over, and we could stamp it in Night of Navy. And let's look at that and see the difference. So tap, tap, tap. Now here we go. I like the Night of Navy. What do you think? Night of Navy or Mossy Meadow? I'm going to go ahead and use Night of Navy. So we're just going to add this right to the inside of our little note card that we made. I'm going to wiggle it around until I have about the same margins left to right, top to bottom. And I do. Look at that. Let's go ahead and lay this down. So let's get some glue. Get it on the back of the card and just put it right down on the inside. And you are going to see the coordination of this with our stripes is going to be beautiful. Now, we need to cut our pieces of paper for these areas, and it is so easy to do. Let's do this together. Let's bring in our trimmer and grab you a piece of 5 by 6. Now I'm going to turn it back this way, and I'm going to cut 4 strips, and they're all going to be 1 1/2. So this is already 5, so I'm going to cut 4 strips of 1 1/2. 1 1/2, 2, 3, and then this one is 1 1/2 already. Now 2 of these I'm going to leave alone. We're just going to set those aside. This one I'm going to cut into little panels. So I'm going to turn it long ways, and I'm going to cut these at 1. So we're going to have 4 of these. 1, 2. So we have 4 of these little strips. So let's put them to the side. And now we still have 1 strip left. We're going to take this and we're going to cut it at 2 1/4. We may or may not need this. I'm not sure yet. But we need to cut it just a little smaller. So we have it at 2 1/4, and now we're going to cut it at 1 1/4. See how easy that was? We just took our 6 by 5 and cut it into 4 strips. And now we have all these little strips. So now let's just add them to this beautiful card. So here we have it. We're going to take this strip and this strip and add them just like this. Now you can double mat if you want, But we're keeping it simple today. But you can absolutely double mat. And we will be double matting this area right here, just because it just adds something to the card. But it's so easy. You can see how quickly this card goes together. Now the next thing we want to do is just put our little squares right there. So let's do all those very quickly. And to make this faster, I'm going to add my glue right to the middle. Just wiggle it around. And look at that. Look at how pretty that looks. Now the next thing we want to create is we want to have a square right here, because when you close it, we want this to have a square. We went ahead and we cut 2 squares, and the squares are 2.5, this one, and then 2 1/4, because we're going to stamp a message on this. So let's go ahead and do that, but we do need to bring in another piece of paper that we can stamp on. So let's just do that. Now, we have used a lot of different stamps. We're using this beautiful leaf from Just Peachy. You're the best. We're using So Very Proud of You. We're going to stamp some butterflies and then punch them out. And then on the inside, we used a sentiment from Botanical Expressions. And I have a question for you. Do you find yourself doing that as well, grabbing all your different stamp sets and finding just the right sentiment or just the right image you want to stamp? We do that all the time. So let's go ahead and bring back in our mossy meadow and let's stamp some leaves. Oh, this is really a beautiful leaf. So tap, tap, tap. Just going to put that. And I think I'm going to bring in my sentiment so that I can stamp around it. I want to make sure and get it right in the center. Okay. Put a little bit right there. Let's bring some leaves down from the top. And I'm going to leave this because I want to put a small butterfly. Now, let's go ahead and layer this. Look at that. Look how pretty that looks. Now, you can pop this up, which I think that's what we're going to do. So just bring in your dimensionals. Okay, and we are going to lay this right in the center of this. Just like that. Look how pretty that is. This could be a great masculine card. Now, because I really don't want this to wiggle, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my multi-purpose glue because it really grabs the first time and holds everything in place. So, I'm not adding much glue. I'm just going to close this and center this. Making sure I have the same top, bottom, and right-hand side margin. Use my dancing fingers. And look at that. How pretty is that? But see this piece right here? Now there's several things you can do. You can add that strip that we cut. Or what we did is we just cut 2 strips just to double mat it, just like we did over here, and maybe add some leaves. So let's try that. You could also emboss this, and I'm going to show you another card where we did just that. So make sure you stay with us to the end. I'm not going to pop this up. We're just going to lay it down. Once again, I'm going to use my glue that grabs. Now remember I said we have a few little butterflies. So we have these that we use that stamp, and then our punch. We're just going to set those right here. And look how pretty that looks. But now let's add one right to the front of our card. Now I took a small butterfly and I'm just going to put it right there. Oh, so cute. And let's add a few embellishments. Now we need to do one more thing to complete this card. It stands up perfectly, but it's not really an A2 card because remember how we cut it 11 by 5 1/4? So let's go ahead and put a base on it just to make it the perfect size of an A2 card. Now you don't have to do this step. You can leave it just like this. It's quite beautiful, fits in an envelope perfectly, but I don't know, this is just one extra step that I think is really nice. And there we have it. Look at this beautiful card. Look at this card. This base on the back, I think, just adds to it. Stands up perfectly. You open it up and you have this beautiful card. Now, you could also make this a top fold card. You could do that if you would rather have it be a top fold. Just think about it. Do you want a top fold or do you want a portrait just like this? Do you see how easy this is to create? So easy. Oh my goodness. Now I have one more to show you at the end that I'll discuss with you. But let's take a moment and let's just create one more card. I'm going to add some music to it.
Hate it when my doubts and my fears swell up like the ocean. It feels like I could drown in my tears. Everything's overflowing. Scared that I won't get it right, get it right. My nerves are working overtime, overtime. Tell myself to calm down and breathe. Step out of the shadows, into the fire. Don't be afraid to go out on a wire. Live in the moment, turn it louder. This is what you're made for. You just hate it when my doubts and my fears swell up like the ocean. It feels like I could drown in my tears. Everything's overflowing. Scared that I won't get it right, get it right. My nerves are working overtime, overtime. Tell myself to calm down and breathe. Step out of the shadows.
What do you think about this card? Oh my goodness. Just love these cards. Let me show you two more cards. I showed you this one, but look at the colors. The colors are just gorgeous. Could be a masculine card, absolutely. We embossed this front panel. Look at that. So pretty. And finally, look at this one. Oh, just love it. Remember I said you could emboss this area right here? I stamped this with some new stamps that are coming out in September. It's a stencil or a mask. Look how pretty that turned out. You open it up. This is a stamp that I colored with my blends. So what do you think about these pop-out cards? pop up, pop out, whatever you want to call it. We hope that you were inspired by this and I was able to show you just how easy it is to create. We would love it if you have a friend that needs a little inspiration, that you share this video and help us grow. We appreciate you so much, and Sis and I hope you go out and have a fantastic day. And until next time, we're wishing you lots of creative moments. Bye-bye.